This episode today is solidly about playing records, about getting the most out of vinyl. It is the all analog show. And if this isn't your bag, I understand, and I want you to come back. I suggest you come back next Monday when I post a review of the Wharfedale Evo 5.2. Sweet speaker. But this show, this is about playing records. Because, well, I actually did an episode like this about a year ago in May of 24 that focused exclusively on analog, and it got a really nice reaction, so this is the continuation of that. So I'm going to do 6 reviews, 3 in this episode, 3 in part 2. Both shows will post today. Anyway, the very first one out of the gate is the Nagaoka MP700. It is their flagship cartridge, which its release coincides with the company's 85th anniversary. That is incredible. They make their cartridges, design and make their cartridges in Japan. And I'm excited to review their flagship. The next one is also a cartridge, also made in Japan. It's the Dynavector XX2A. It's a low output moving coil cartridge. It supersedes the previous model, which is the XX2 Mark II, which I just happen to own. So I get to hear the difference between the two cartridges, the two models. And that's fun to do. And then the third on the list is the Dynavector SUP-200. It's a step-up transformer, again, designed and made in Japan. It's a little brick. It is so solidly put together. It's not just dedicated to Dynavector cartridges. You can use it with other brands of cartridges. Now, the next on the list is, well, a phono preamp. And it's by a company that I have little experience with. It's a German company. It's called Octave, which they generally make tube electronics. But this Octave phono EQ.2 is actually a solid-state design. It's a moving magnet, moving coil phono preamp. And it's tiny. It comes with a little separate power supply, actually, a wall wart. But it's really nice. It is really nice. Then I did another phono stage. And the second phono stage is, well, how should I put this? It is a DIY clone of Tim DeParavicini's 834p moving magnet phono stage, tube phono stage. And this one is a clone made by a man, Charles Port. He is a retired Navy electronics technician, so he really knows his way around this sort of thing, building electronics. And he just does this because he enjoys it. So it's basically an upgraded 834p with better parts. That's it. So anyway, I included in this thing, and it sounds tubey in the best possible sense. Now, last on the list is something really out of left field, because it's a record cleaning machine. The Humming Guru ultrasonic record cleaning machine. And I don't particularly like record cleaning machines. I had a really bad experience with a nitty-gritty, a nitty-gritty record cleaning machine way back in the 80s. And it kind of, I'm not into record cleaning machines. So anyway, this one sort of just came into my life. It's a gift. It was a gift from my friend Miguel. And when he offered to me, it was like, wow, it's so generous of you. But anyway, I said yes. How could I turn him down? And once I got it here, well, and what happened? I fell in love with it because it's really easy to use. It's fairly quiet. And I actually, big shock to me, enjoy cleaning records on this machine. And I did not see that coming. But that happens in part 2. Let's get into the details of the Nagaoka MP700. Now, as I said earlier, it's not a moving coil cartridge. It's not a moving magnet cartridge. It's a moving permalloy cartridge. And rather than get into words how to describe the differences between the three, I will put up this little diagram and you'll see how it works. But in fact, you just use it as you would a normal moving magnet cartridge. And unlike moving coil cartridges, the MP700's stylus is user replaceable. So that's almost never true for moving coils, but it is with the MP700. The price of the MP700 cartridge is $1,399. But the one I got actually was pre-mounted on a Nagaoka headshot, which is very, very nice. And then the price is $1,499. The price of the user replaceable stylus is $789. Let's move on to some other details. The MP700 sports a boron cantilever and a nude micro ridge stylus. The tracking force required is on the low side. It's only 1.4 grams, and the weight of the cartridge body is 8 grams. And if you get it the way I did with the head shell, then it's 28 grams. So as for the music, well, I started with this canned heat record. I didn't buy this one new. I bought it a few years ago, but it's a great record, great in capturing what this band, what Canned Heat did so well, which was boogie. I mean, just this groove that they would lay out. And it's, you know, it's complex music, and there was plenty of detail. The bass was very solid. And even with this kind of recording, I was very impressed with the MP700's imaging, because it was big and spacious and had a solidity to the sound that jumped out at me. It was like, wow, it really feels like they're three-dimensionally present, the instruments and the singers, with the MP700 playing Canned Heat. And then with this record, Aretha danced with the MP700, because she's driving the band. She is pushing the band. She's playing piano. She's getting the groove going, and they are following her. And you just feel that. That's what makes this music so exciting. And this cartridge, the MP700, just felt like it, you know, it took me there. It just made the music live. Bottom end is big and juicy. It's really meaty. It just has this substance to the sound. And the phono preamp was the Octave Phono EQ.2 as a moving magnet input. Plenty of gain, no problem. Sounded very quiet when the music wasn't playing. Put my ear up to the speaker, dead silence. And the transient response of the MP700 was good. I mean, it felt fast and clear. I would say not quite up to the level of the best moving coil cartridges in my stable. And I was using another phono preamp at this point, the Parasound JC3 Plus, which is not being reviewed here, but that's one of my reference phono preamps, just to give it a different flavor. And I would say that the Octave was doing more, added more life, more liveness to the sound than I got with the JC3 Plus. The next review is of the Dynavector XX2A. Now the XX series dates all the way back to 1989. I have no idea what that cartridge was like. I think the first Dynavector I ever had, I guess in the 90s, was the Dynavector Ruby, a Ruby cantilever. Phenomenal cartridge. I'm going to get into the details of the design, starting with the magnet. This cartridge uses an Alnico magnet. It's a very, very powerful magnet. The diamond is a line contact. The cantilever is solid boron. The cartridge weighs 8.9 grams. It tracks between 1.8 and 2.2 grams. I track it at 2 grams. Now, the change, in case you're wondering, the change from the XX2 Mark II to the XX2A has a lot to do with the annealing process, the magnetic circuit of the cartridge itself. And I'm going to link to the page on the Dynavector site that tells you all about that in detail, because if I try to say it, it's just going to be word salad. You don't want to hear that, right? So anyway, that's the only change that they claim. Otherwise, they're the exact same cartridge. And like I said, I have an original, so I'm going to do this comparison. But first, I'm going to talk about the sound of the cartridge itself, the XX2A, which is lively, dynamic, I mean really strong, powerful dynamics, great bottom end, lots of inner detail and clarity. This is for people who are chasing resolution in analog, this cartridge will take you there, but will never sound analytical or hard or bright if you use it with a good phono preamp and a good step-up transformer, because this is, yes, a low output moving coil cartridge. I used it with my Parasound JC3 Plus without a transformer, and it sounded phenomenal. I mean, that's how I listened to the XX2 Mark II for years. That is a terrific combination. But when I switched over to the Octave Phono EQ.2, there was even more presence and jump factor coming out of this cartridge with the Octave Phono preamplifier. I really like that combination. Going straight into the moving coil section, but it got even better when I used the Dynavector SUP-200 step-up transformer into the Octave's moving magnet input. I hope you're following. But anyway, I liked it. In other words, I liked it straight in to a moving coil section, but like the regular course seems to be that almost every moving coil cartridge I use nowadays sounds better with a step-up transformer in front of it. You know, the record I've been hung up on lately is Elvis Costello's Get Happy, his fourth album, I believe. And it's just, the band is at its peak in terms of working together as a unit, Elvis and the Attractions. They're just on fire. And they blast through 20 songs on a single LP. They're all really short, around 2-minute songs. They go through 20 songs and they are on fire. I mean, it's so much fun to listen to this record. It brings me back to that time. Now, the XX2A was delivering the goods, but when I switched back to the XX2 Mark II, the older version, you know, it did feel more reserved. It took some of that energy away from the performance. And the bass, well, it was weird how the bass was sort of shelved down by the older cartridge and just had more pop when I listened to it with the XX2A. But my old cartridge is old. It's about 2.5 years old. I'm guessing it has 500 or 600 hours of use. And I'm comparing it to a new XX2A at that point with, let's say, 30, 40 hours on it. So one cartridge was well broken in, one was still pretty fresh. So they're not equals in terms of this comparison. It's not a fair comparison, but it's the only comparison I could do. Oh, and the price. The price of the cartridge, the XX2A, is $2,250. And the matching transformer, the SUP-200, is $2,650. Now, as for the details of the SUP-200, it is suitable for use with cartridges that have internal impedances between 3 and 35 ohms. That's not the loading impedance. That's a different number. This is the internal impedance. Most cartridge manufacturers list that somewhere in the specifications. But anyway, that's what this cartridge is designed for. So I use it with other cartridges, not just the Dynavector. Oh man, I had a great time playing it with the Audiophiliac SPU #1. Anyway, that's a big, bulky cartridge. It's been in production since like 1960 or so, and it just has this flavor, this, I was going to say old-timey. Not old-timey, but it just has more, it's not about res, it's more about musicality. Voices sound more like voices, acoustic guitars sound more like acoustic guitars. It's not going to give you the maximum in terms of impact and sparkling detail and stuff like that. That's not what the SPU #1 does. It just it just plays music. And I love the way the SPU #1 just synced up right away to the SUP-200. As you might have already noticed, I'm hung up on listening to performances. I want to feel like I'm hearing the band at the session. You know, this was an event. This was people getting together. If it's an old recording, people getting together and playing in a room. And when I was playing this Willie Dixon record, the swagger of this group, of this band that he's leading, he's playing bass, and you know, he's the singer, but it's just got this, let's get this thing done kind of sound to it. And that's what the Dynavector XX2A with the SPU-200 into the Octave phono preamplifier were doing. So what I'm saying here is that few contemporary recordings can match this level of grit. Willie and the band recorded this entire album, 12 songs, on December 3rd, 1959, over 2-3 hour sessions. They did not overdub, they did not mix, they just played, and what was done, and these are live performances in a studio. As for a contemporary recording that made me smile, this one, Kronos Quartet meets Sun Ra. This was recorded in 2024. It's a recent recording. Sun Ra has left the planet a while ago, but this music is just so strange and ambient, has great soundstage depth and space and ambience and low-level detail. And yeah, the XX2A was giving that to me big time. Really, really nice. And if you're into strange music, if you're into Sun Ra, this isn't Sun Ra, it's the Kronos Quartet, but you should check this recording out. You can stream it wherever. But anyway, I love this album.